Hello everyone, this is HuskyStarcraft here, back with some more StarCraft 2 action. This time it is going to be between Liquid Zenio up in the top right side. And of course, since this game is played on the Korean ladder, that means you have no idea who his opponent's going to be. It is, of course, Barcode down in the bottom left side. Now, I know that I may have just uploaded 3 ZvZs, but I have been told that this game is good, so hopefully it actually is. And as you guys know, I do not preview games before I cast them, which was kind of a problem in the last series I cast. If you guys watch those, you already know what I'm talking about, where every single game was actually mislabeled. So that made a lot of fun for me when I got down to the games and realized after I casted them that no, this was not correct at all. But anyways, there's going to be another ZvZ. The map is going to be Cloud Kingdom. And I just gotta say, man, in our house right now, Rosanna is doing an interview on Skype for a YouTube channel. Dodger is doing the TGS podcast, and I'm sitting here casting StarCraft. So there's a lot of recording going on right now in this house, and I don't know what that has to do with anything, but I thought it was pretty hilarious. So hopefully I'm picking up on their microphones so you can hear me all over the internet casting this very game. I'm sure that is, well, it's usually what happens anyways, where it's like, I can hear Husky in the background again. Does he ever stop yelling? The answer is absolutely not. Right now it does look like both players might actually be going for a hatchery first build here, which is telling me that already we could be having a macro game. Oh, I'm a liar. Barcode did go ahead and throw down a spawning pool. Getting it a little bit delayed. That goes ahead and does the gas right here as well, while we do have the hatchery first here for Zenio. So I guess it's going to spice things up a little bit in the early game. It could make it play out a lot differently in the mid game because, you know, Barcode's going to have the option to go for a lot more units. He can go for a lot more tech, especially since he's going to be getting that gas right away. He'll have Zergling speed a lot sooner. As you can see, Zenio doesn't have a spawning pool or anything like that on the way. Just now going to begin starting that pool. So, I mean, obviously, if you get your hatchery first, it's going to delay your spawning pool by a great deal. And down goes the hatchery for Barcode. So they're basically doing the same thing, just getting there in slightly different ways. Barcode's going to be going for the earlier Zergling speed, the earlier queen, the earlier potential for lings on the field, and then getting an expansion. And then Zenio opting to play the more defensive style, where he's going to get the hatchery first. He will have to throw down a spine crawler, maybe get some extra Zerglings out to help defend, but he should be okay. I mean, the builds that we're looking at right now shouldn't heavily favor in the early stage of the game. And honestly, it kind of depends how aggressive our Barcode player wants to be. Is he going to go for lots of inject larvas powered by all Zerglings, or is it going to be powered by drones to catch up back in the economy? We're just going to have to wait and see. You can see he did mine exactly 100 gas before pulling off those drones, so he's not going to be doing a Baneling timing. He's not going to be doing anything like that. He could still do a lot of Zerglings, all with Zergling speed, but he's basically would have to rely on crazy good micro. What I mean by that is that if Zenio is playing defensively, he's still got his drones in gas right now. We'll see if he pulls them out at 100. But if he decides to go just pure Ling to try and win, all of a sudden he has the potential of losing immediately to just a couple of Baneling hits. So you have to make sure that you're microing perfectly. There's Zenio's Spine Crawler, like we were talking about a little bit, is going to need that to hold off potential for early rushes. And we do have more Zerglings on the way, 8 Zerglings to be exact, and we do have, that's going to be a total of 10 right now. So is that enough to actually lock down an expansion when there's a spine crawler there? I want to say no. 10 is kind of a weird number to be going for at this stage of the game because the Overlords are going to spot it. It does look like the Lings may be running around, and actually manages to juke those Lings for a moment. I think he's just going to go ahead and run out to the center of the map. He could also be kind of faking the amount of Zerglings he has here, trying to show his opponent, hey, I'm going for a Baneling nest, you better watch out, son. That is, of course, not going to be the case, but with Zergling speed now done, Zenio does have his Baneling nest on the way, so it looks like it may be shaping up the way that I had originally predicted, in that it will be Lings and Banelings versus just pure Ling. I don't think he's going to be able to do too much. He will be able to snipe a drone or two here, though. That's going to be huge. Even a single drone at this stage of the game is absolutely massive, especially since Zenio's already behind in drones, even though he was ahead at the expansion. There's the Baneling hit right there. Does manage to clean up some of those Lings, and the Zergling there trying to finish off a drone here or there. That is not going to be happening, though. So that's going to even the score a little bit here. Give Zenio the option to make more drones, because at this point, I mean, look at the Zergling counts. 11 Zerglings to 1, which may not sound like that big of a deal, especially with Zergling speed not being done yet, but it actually is, because now Barcode knows that there's a Baneling nest done. He knows that if there's 11 Lings on the field, that could potentially be 11 Banelings blowing up his economy. So that's something he's going to have to watch out for. Right now, it's not going to be 11 Banelings, but just 2 more morphing in. Zergling speed, a little bit over halfway done. I don't think Zenio's going to really have it in time to really take advantage of any sort of timing that he may have had here. He may try and run it with a couple of Banelings here just to do some initial damage. The Speedlings are done for Barcode, allowing them to get those first hits on, especially if these Zerglings are trying to retreat. But a Baneling hit there. Got to save the behinds of the rest of these Lings, and the units look like they are going to go ahead and start heading back home. He is going to try and get some nice hits here, though, because he knows that without Zergling speed, it is futile to try and run all the way back home with these units. The Baneling could turn around there, and did he hit those Banelings? Yes, he did. So one more Baneling hit there could help separate this army into half, and does manage to hit him again. Now, all 3 of these Banelings are low on HP. That makes it very easy to snipe with individual Zerglings right here, which is what we're seeing Zenio do so far. So, I mean, honestly, this is pretty standard ZvZ. Lots of micro by both players. A lot of Zergling, Baneling going back and forth here. We haven't seen any game-winning hits, but an interesting choice here by Barcode to go for such an early third right now, especially when Zenio could power on a lot of Lings and a lot of Banelings to try and end this. Could do some sort of all-in if there's a hidden third hatchery in the main base. Although I think the Overlord, no, it wouldn't have scouted it even if there was one. Didn't spot the lair tech either. So that does mean that the lair tech advantage is for neither player here. Actually, they're at about the exact same second here. And this is the thing. You'll see this in ZvZ quite a bit, where, you know, players are going for certain things at the exact same timings. I mean, look at this, the +1 range attack, almost the exact same timings, a couple seconds different. So even though, you know, one player is getting a Roach Warren, one player went hatchery first, while the other got spawning pool first, a lot of the timings are still the same in this matchup, especially the longer the game goes on. You're going to see equal timings on the Roaches, equal timings on the upgrades and the tech, and even this, I mean, yes, one player is getting more Roaches than the other, but they're still getting the Glial Reconstitution, they're still getting the Roaches at the same time here. So very, very interesting here that they have managed to kind of mesh together very similar builds here, even though they started out very differently at the early stages of the game. But you can see even Overseers are at about the same time, where both players are trying to get the Overseers now. Zenio is going to be moving inside the main base. You can see him also using a Changeling here to try and scout around, although he's not really fooling anybody because he moves so slowly there. But is still able to scout that expansion, scout the timing of the upgrades. It does eventually get taken out. The Overseer, though, is going to see the rest, and you can see, you know, Barcode's like, well, I got to do the exact same thing here. I'm not sure if he used a Changeling or not. If there is one kind of scouting around, I would not be surprised. Does see the Roaches here. He also sees the amount of Banelings and will continue to scout. Sees that there are upgrades on the way for the Roach Warren. He also sees the Roaches spawning. So both these players know exactly what's going on. And I mean, in any matchup, scouting is very, very important. Take a look at what he can see here. He can also see the amount of Roaches. He sees where they're heading out. He also has this Watchtower down here with a Changeling, mind you. So that's a free unit there that will be grabbing that tower. So even if he loses that, it doesn't actually matter. However, he does know that Zenio is moving out with these Roaches, which means that Barcode's just going to have to make a bunch of Roaches to react to this, and he is doing just that. Both players are going to have that Roach speed upgrade nearly done. I think it's going to be at the exact same time, honestly. Yeah, right when this attack starts is when that upgrade is going to be finishing for the defending player, Barcode. The Banelings do get some nice hits there. I mean, Baneling's kind of obsolete at this point, but can still get some nice hits off on the Roaches. Zenio deciding to be very aggressive here. His +1 is done, but guess what? So is his opponents. The Zerglings marching up here to absorb a lot of that damage. These Zerglings right now, they basically do no damage to the Roaches, but it allows a buffer zone because Roaches attack so slowly that if the Zerglings are there to absorb even one volley of the Roach shots, it gives you a huge, huge advantage here. And we will take a look at the units lost. Overall, though, it wasn't enough of an advantage to actually come out ahead in this battle, and you can see about the same units lost here. And this is enough Lings to overwhelm this amount of Roaches, and they can chase these Roaches down, and that's why Zenio is just going to be microing as best he can, but the Lings are eventually going to get this round, and indeed they do, to clean off these Roaches. Zenio getting as much cost efficiency out of these Roaches as he can, but is eventually going to have to pay the ultimate price, and down they do go. But it does look like right now both players on 3 bases. Take a look at the units tab. 62 drones to only 54 for Barcode, but Barcode does have 7 more on the way, so it should be actually relatively even now. 67 to 58, so I guess he didn't get nearly as many as I thought he was. And look at this, even the Pathogen Glance, the +2, almost exact same timings here. So again, even though players are playing it a little bit differently, overall, the timings still are about the same. That's something that's very important to learn as Zerg, is when do you do defensive Roaches, when do you do offensive Roaches, when do you transition into Infestors, when's a good time to go for Mutalisks. Mutalisks are much more rare than Infestors these days because, again, players are learning that Infestors are a very robust unit. They're a unit that can summon an army, they can fungal growth your opponent's army, They can burrow, they can even take control of those high-tier units, so it's a very strong unit. I don't think that anyone would argue the Infestor is not a strong unit, and what that means is in this matchup especially, the Infestors become almost invaluable, because if one Infestor fungal growths your opponent's Infestors, then all of a sudden you are way, way, way behind and can end up basically losing the game right then and there. So we'll see if that actually becomes a threat here, but both players researching burrow at the same time. It is going to favor Zenio on the timing there. He's got to be delaying that with the contaminate ability here. Not a big deal, especially with the 4th base on the way, but it is a nice ability to actually use. He did contaminate it here as well. It's going to delay the larva popping off of there, and that is something that I think players heavily underutilize. I don't think it's going to win the game for Barcode by any means, but we do have a slight supply block here. More Overlords are on the way, though. Infestor count going to be relatively high for both players if they continue at the rate that they have been so far. 6 Infestors to 4 here, so there is an actual Infestor advantage, albeit just for a second, though, because more are on the way, and the Hydralisk dens are on the same timing as well. And I love games like this, especially when it comes to mirror matchups, where you basically see just the unit control and the decision making kind of play a role here, as opposed to what build they win, especially since they are getting out the same units at about the same time. Got to try and focus down the hatchery, and he does manage to get it there. Another hatchery is morphing it over there. I don't think that was a cancel, so that is going to help even this up very, very much. As look at this, 3,700 now for both players on that unit's loss, so that was definitely worth it. A lot of those units lost was just energy as well. The Overseer kind of chilling out over here. This Queen might be able to kill it off, though, once it does indeed spawn. And honestly, this is exactly what Barcode needed to do, was delay the expansion long enough to get up his own expansion. This expansion obviously taking a little bit of damage here from a counterattack, but thankfully for Barcode, he was able to hang on. Could even transfuse that if he decides to. If any of his Queens have additional energy, which it looks like this one might pretty soon, then just try and save the expansion as best as he can, because, you know, Infestors can harass us very easily from the high ground. I wouldn't be surprised to see a player go for that. We do have Overlord speed for Barcode. I gotta say, I love his map vision. Going to the vision of him, you can see exactly how much vision he actually has of the map, whereas if you compare it to Zenio, I mean, he's kind of playing in the dark right now. Yes, he's got a couple of Overseers out there, but is not really able to see the army movements, not able to see the tech or anything like that, although right now he is getting pretty lucky, able to spot this roach timing here. He does know the upgrades are identical here, and now we have Hydralisk on the way at the exact same timing for both these players. The upgrades are the same. I do believe the Hydra number, yeah, it is going to be favoring Zenio right now, as it is 10-7. He also has a slight drone advantage as well. So overall, this is going to be favoring Zenio. He is a little bit behind in the roach count. Roach is very, very valuable in these battles, but not nearly as good as the Hydralisk. Here come the Infested Terrans out preemptively trying to engage here. Ridiculous fungal, though. A lot of that is hitting the Infested Terrans, but at the same time, that doesn't matter because this is so much damage by Zenio. Keep an eye on the units lost here because this could heavily favor Zenio if he manages to get a good angle here, especially. Oh, no, he snipes the hatchery, decides to retreat here. He's not going to overcommit here. At the same time, though, he very well may lose his own hatchery here because he's completely out of position. The Hydralisks are speeding back here to try and defend this. These are the brand new Hydralisks that just spawned. It does look like the hatchery will survive for now, but another battle going to be going down. A fungal has grabbed about half this army. The Infestors have got to retreat. They're trying to slow down the push of Barcode here, but multitasking by both players. Who came out ahead? It does look like Barcode actually coming out ahead in this battle. Grabbing half of that army in the center was absolutely huge. Roaches up here. Got to try and snipe some of the Infestors. Even bringing the Overseer here to spot this. Does manage to get 2 of those burrowed Infestors, so great damage being dealt there. Barcode has managed to hang on. He is forced to throw down another hatchery here, though, while he was unable to kill this one, so that is definitely going to put him behind. He knows it. That's why he's going to be moving out. Infested Terrans going down, mostly for Barcode here. Free damage being dealt, but at the same time, the rest of the army gets taken out. There wasn't enough to back up these Infested Terrans, and now he is in full-on retreat. We'll take a look. Units lost, almost identical once again, as I think the units lost tab is a great way of seeing exactly where this game is at, but at the same time, more Infestors getting taken out. Roach is slipping inside the main base, could go for the hatchery, decides to go for the drone line in the main base, could go for the hive tech. Does he manage to actually kill off the hive? I think that wouldn't actually be that smart of an idea. +2 attack, 1 armor now done for Barcode, so Barcode is pulling ahead right now. He's ahead in the upgrades, but only for a little bit, as we do have that equal 1 army, or 1 armor on the way for the army of Zenio. Zenio going to be moving out with these roaches. Does run into a spine crawler wall, though, and reinforcing roaches here could easily stop to help push this back. They do decide to do just that, and we do have inside the main base now. Roaches going to be doing lots of damage to the drone line here. These drones are, yep, taking a lot of damage, but it does look like Zenio going to be able to clean this up eventually. Nice little burrow right there. Remember, that does help regenerate the Roach's HP very quickly, so they will be in tip-top shape in just a moment. Did Zenio realize that he burrowed, or did he actually think he cleaned those out? And during the multitasking, it can be kind of hard to track all 20 battles that are taking place, it feels like, as the army is now engaging in the middle just a little bit. But Zenio still able to hang on to this 4th base, is working on 5th base. But, yep, he didn't realize that these Roaches burrowed. And the important thing is there's still about 2,000 gas here, a little bit less that can be mined here. So if these Roaches kill this off, that's going to be a huge loss for Zenio, because you can see he is suffering in the gas count right now. So any economic damage that Barcode can do would be a huge help to him. The Queen realizing that there's an Overlord scouting here, but this Overlord's basically going to sacrifice himself. However, this is showing to Barcode that Zenio does not have Overlord speed, so drops are not going to be a threat. Really, all he's going to have to worry about is the potential for a Nidus Worm, but right now he is ahead in the upgrades. I mean, it's technically tied now, but the timing of this 2 armor is before that of his opponent. The Hive Tech is going to be delayed here, though, for Barcode. But did Zenio get the Hive Tech too early? I feel like he's not using the Hive Tech for anything. Just now starting that +3, so that's going to be okay as long as he can keep his Hive Tech alive long enough to either go for the Broodlords or go for the Ultras. But right now, he's got to worry about this massive attack down here. The Infestor, not enough energy for Fungal until just now. The reinforcements show up, and down go the Fungals, and it does look like Barcode throwing out the Infested Terrans, trying to get a favorable angle here. At the same time, he is going to be running inside the main base. Only a couple Roaches here to defend. Not sure if it's enough to hold off, though. It does look like this army getting absolutely crushed by Zenio, but Zenio's still way behind in that unit's loss tab. These Roaches are going to have to split up here to try and burrow. That's exactly what he's going to do right now, and the Roaches over here get cleaned out as well. They did manage to kill off these drones, though, which is a big deal, because, again, that's about 1,600 gas that will not be mined unless he can rebuild those. But for right now, it does look like a minor attack over here. It looks like these Roaches almost got forgotten about. More Roaches inside the main base as Zenio scrambling around to try and deal with this multitasking. But taking a look at the army supply, you can see that Zenio has done it correctly. He has managed to hold on. It is 126 supply to 102. So far, a non-stop game back and forth. And now Zenio's got to be marching down to the bottom right side. Can he actually do enough damage here? Trying to split up this army as best he possibly can. Remember, there is no Hydra speed upgrade like there is in Heart of the Swarm. So he's not able to micro these units very well, but a nice Fungal there. Got to help get him back into this game, and is still keeping him, well, he is behind in supply. I feel like his army composition is looking very good, although the Infestor count for Barcode is something to be terrified of. 18 Infestors to only 7. 7 Infestors right now for Zenio. Although, if he messes up the Infestor control, he could lose this game very quickly, because the Infestors, while they're very good at summoning units and throwing out Fungals, if somehow Zerglings get on top of them, it's going to be very difficult to actually deal with. Zenio working on a lot of Roaches here. He's expanding again to the top left side. This is spotted by the Overlord. A couple Roaches and Hydras on the high ground here. 14 kills on this Hydra. We're going to keep an eye on him, but at the same time, ridiculous Fungal's going to be going down for Zenio, but he might also lose some of his Infestors during the process, and indeed he will. 18 kills, by the way, on this Hydra. Did the Hydra get oh, he's gonna burrow there. He's got to think about how many fellow Zerg units he just killed. He's quite depressed about that. We will keep an eye on him, though, as we do see Zenio now in full-on retreat, waiting for more reinforcements here. Barcode a little bit desperate here, but at the same time, he still has the Infestor advantage, and that's something that cannot be underestimated in any way, no matter what the supplies are. That is a lot of Infestors on the field. The Hydra's still chilling out. He's back and ready for more. Although, no, he's killing his own buddy. He's gotten so crazy from killing so many units that now he's even killing his own units. They all look the same to him. +3 attack is now done. +2 armor is on the way, but right now it does look like Barcode has a nice angle. He is going to have to watch out for the Infestors on the high ground, though. Throwing out some ridiculous Fungals while the Infestors are getting sniped right away, while Barcode still has almost unlimited energy, it feels like, here, as he is pushing on through and is going to be denying the 4th base, could potentially deny the 5th base as well. Is this scouted? Yes, it is. It hasn't been taken out, though, and Zenio trying to jockey for position right now. Doesn't have a lot of income after losing that base here, but it does look like the Hydra on the high ground. His time is soon. He is an Assassin Hydralisk, which you would think that Snake people wouldn't make very good assassins, but then again, you may have not seen Liquid Zenio's Hydralisk. Down goes the hatchery right there. So 2 bases have fallen. It does look, you can see Zenio desperately trying to get that established again, but at the same time, this army is stuck down here. The Fungals could be out of control, and they are going to be grabbing that entire army. This Hydra is still somehow alive, burrowing back down at the main base, or at that main mining base, rather. There is another attack over here. These roaches have managed to burrow there. Multitasking by both these players has been phenomenal, but I gotta say that Barcode sacrificing this army, but at the same time, Zenio's army is now trapped down here, so an eye for an eye at this point in the game is a huge advantage. I mean, well, it's basically keeping both players in the game. So I thought Zenio had this for sure, but at the same time, he's going to be losing this army. There's the fungal right there to seal the deal, doing lots of damage to these units here. This Hydralisk is still somehow alive. Up to 19 kills now. Might even be able to kill off this Overlord, but with Overlord speed, that might be a bit of a chore to chase that down. At the same time, though, Zenio's able to get this base back up and running, but so is Barcode, but not for long. As Zenio runs down here, he's going to be able to clean that out. At the same time, there's a battle taking place over here. This game has been so non-stop, but a lot of the Infestors have been taken out during this, getting chased down by these roaches. The Infestors move very quickly while burrowed, but still not fast enough to save every single one. Take a look at the units tab here. It is 7 Infestors now for Barcode to 0 Infestors for Zenio. Zenio does have 3 on the way, but still a big advantage here to Barcode. And the Hydralisk finally may be rejoining the army as they've actually managed to kill off that hatchery here. Got to keep an eye on that Hydralisk, though, as his story unfurls. And no, he actually goes down here to kill even more units, killing off. Apparently, roaches are really good at killing. What the hell? Roaches, did you know that? Roaches kill larvae so quickly. What the hell? But the more important battle is the one taking place up here. The Infestors unable to do that much damage here because the army is so beautifully split here by Zenio. That Hydra is now up to 21 kills. We do have 3-2 for Zenio, only 2-2 for Barcode. That may be the game-losing mistake for him if he's unable to get kind of back on track. This Hydralisk just needs to move a little bit to the left side there to do massive amounts of damage. Although this army, the Infestors moving down, might be able to clean that out. The roaches over here are still burrowed, ready to strike at a moment's notice. And no, the Hydra, it's going to die. It did so well. The roaches actually focusing it down. The 2 roaches do burrow there. Unfortunately, the Hero Hydra, that's definitely the MVP unit of this game. The Overlord's kind of scouting out over here, seeing what's going on. This game, though, has been so close the entire time. I do think that last engagement, though, is going to put Zenio far enough ahead to be able to claim this. Even though units lost is favoring Barcode, you can see a little bit more has been spent by Zenio on his tech, on his economy, and his army, showing you that he has mined much more minerals. We do have 4 Infestors on the way, 7 roaches on the way here for Zenio, but I don't think that a couple of Infestors at this point is going to be worth, are basically going to be enough to actually win the game for him. You can see he is forced a long-distance mine right now. His income needing to be supplemented in any way that he absolutely can be. But right now, I mean, this has been a very good ZvZ, I must say, a back-and-forth game. But it does look like Zenio able to claim the nameless victory over the nameless player Barcode. And for those of you wondering, in Korea, players practice under the name Barcode because they don't want players learning their builds. They don't want to know, like, okay, well, I'm going up against Zenio in the GSL later this week, and I just ran into him on ladder. Let's study it. So it's actually kind of an intelligent thing to do. Makes it very confusing for us. It does look like the burrow micro back and forth as the drones burrow right as the roaches unburrow, but at this point I don't really think there's a lot that Barcode can do. He has to rely on his Infestor control, and he really honestly has to grab those units when they're out of position, not split up, and are clumped up. If he can kill off all these roaches, maybe, just maybe, he can get himself back in this game, but he's currently down in supply, down in basically every way possible except for the Infestors. 18-8 Infestors right now, so it is still possible if Zenio makes a big blunder. Like right here, he could fungal these, but nope, does manage to split there right at the last second. Does decide to back up. If he goes up this ramp, though, it could be a suicide mission as the Infestors are there ready and waiting to take that out. But at the same time, I mean, Zenio's mining while Barcode is only mining off this one remaining expansion, and somehow his natural still has minerals here. But, oh, look at this roach punching these bird guys in the face. He's like, hey, I see you down there. Even though he's regenerating HP, we'll eventually be able to clean that out. But right now, he's still at an upgrade disadvantage. He's at an army disadvantage and an economy disadvantage. The only advantage he has is these Infestors. And honestly, I think he just needs to move out with these. They're at near full energy. He just needs to go for it, try and take a victory. I mean, defending is a possibility, but the problem is that his opponent's army is now so much larger than it would have been if he decided to attack a little bit earlier. And, you know, he does have the defender's advantage of the fungals like that, for example. Got to be some nice fungals going down. Grabs one Infestor there. Ooh, that wasn't a cancel there, I think, on that army. And if he's not careful with these Infestors, though, he's going to end up losing all of his own. And this is the problem, is that now that Zenio's maxed out, he can afford to sacrifice units because look at this, he'll be able to stockpile some money. He's even sacrificing a couple of drones for spine crawlers at this point to prevent the counterattack, even just getting himself further and further ahead. At this point, a couple of roaches do march down here. This is mostly just to free up supply for Zenio, also absorb some of those fungals. It also allows him to spot the high ground, or spot for the Infestors on the high ground. And here we go. This is going to be the final battle, I feel like, unless somehow Barcode can manage to secure the win in this battle. I don't think it's going to happen. He does have lots of infested Terrans, but they're just getting taken out before they can spawn. And the fungals on these infestors, goodbye. Never have I seen so many infestors die all at once. And that's exactly what can happen when you're relying purely on infestors. So there's the GG from Barcode. What an awesome game here for Liquid Zenio. He's one of the better players on Team Liquid. He hasn't had as much exposure in the kind of the StarCraft scene, but he has been on Team Liquid for quite some time now. And definitely keep an eye out for him once Heart of the Swarm begins, because he's got pretty solid mechanics, good decision making, and apparently a lot of APM. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh my god, they both had, like, over 250 APM. How do you play that fast for 35 minutes? I will never, I don't even think I can type that fast, man. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and I already said it, but I'll see you guys next time.